Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome every student to this new lesson. Today we are going to take in the unit 4 vocabulary and grammar, and the name of the course, as you can see, Traveler 5. This is the first semester and we are targeting third secondary stage. What we will learn today, we are going to learn three different things. Number one, identify expressions or collocations using with take, practice using strong adjectives, and also learning how to use the past perfect symbol and past perfect progressive. All right, three things, we should cover them in this lesson. So are you ready to move to the next slide? Keep in mind you are going to take something related to take and practice strong adjectives. What do we mean by strong adjectives? And also use past perfect simple and past perfect progressive. All right, warm up. What do you see in this picture? What can you see? Someone tried to jump between two mountains. Can he reach the other side? What do we mean by this picture? Can we call it adventure or something? So what do you mean by this? What can you see as well? Now, expressions with take. Take up, take after, take in. You can see the explanation for each word. So what do you mean by take up? Start a new hobby. Okay, Sam has take up jogging. He likes it. And take after, resemble in character or even appearance. He takes after his father. And take in, as you can see, to understand, it was difficult to take in all he said. And take on, to employ or even hire. Our company took on new workmen. Take over, get control of something. Our company was taken over by our rival. And take back, as you can see here, return something to the place where it was bought. I took that TV set back. And you can see here the green, take down, which is write down. The student took down the lecture. And take off, to raise into the air or begin flight. The plane took off on time. So this is the word take, and those are the preposition up, on, over, back, after, in, off, down comes, and it's just combine two words and makes a new meaning, as you can see in this slide. Now we want to make this practice, and your mission is just to complete the sentences with the words in the box. We have almost 6 words, and also we have 6 sentences: advice, time, measure, care, test, responsibility. Number 1, Ibrahim is very nervous because he is going to take his driving blank in a few hours. My manager told me to take my space completing the report and to check it carefully. Number 3, the oil company has refused to take for the oil leak in the sea. I'm glad I took my parents and bought a house when I could afford it, because property is much more expensive now. My next door neighbor takes of my cats whenever I go away, and the government is planning to take stop motorists from parking cars or their cars in the city center. All right, so your job is just to fill in the spaces. As you can see the words on the box. Simply, you can add the right words in the right sentence. Here we go with the right answers. Rahim is very nervous because he is going to take his driving test in a few hours, and my manager told me to take my time completing the report and to check it carefully. The oil company has refused to take responsibility for the oil leak in the sea. I'm glad I took my parents' advice. I bought a house when I could afford it because property now is much more expensive now. And my next door neighbor takes care of my cats whenever I go away. And the last sentence, the government is planning to take measures to stop motorists from parking their cars in the city center. Well done for those who get the right answers. And now let's move to the second objective, if you can remember the first slide, which is the strong adjectives and what is the difference between strong adjective and the normal adjective. Let us just read the sentence. We were exhausted because we had been hiking through the mountains terrain for 8 hours. So the underlined word, which is in the red color, mean exhausted, means very tired. Okay. And the second sentence, we were so delighted with our find. So the word underline word I can see, delighted means very pleased. In the strong adjectives are stronger version of other adjective. Example, delighted means very pleased, as you can see here. Okay. And in the strong adjective as well, never follow adverbs like very or extremely. Adverbs such as absolutely and utterly are used instead. This is the difference between adjective and strong adjective. We can say synonyms has the same meaning but different in the words. So this is a strong adjective. Once you say we were so delighted, you want to explain a high rate of excitement. And when you want just say I'm exhausted, you want to say I'm very, 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 very tired. So this word describe the the moment or even the action accurately. Okay, now in this exercise, just replace the strong adjectives in the sentence with very or even extremely with the adjectives. So you can see the underlined words. We should replace in the sentence with the word very or even extremely. Imad was furious when he discovered that Alex had borrowed his new car without his permission. Kevin owns an enormous house in the countryside with more than 20 rooms. Number 3, everybody started laughing when the Luke walked in wearing a ridiculous hat. And it is essential that you wear safety glasses when doing this experiment. And the last sentence, I saw tiny ant sticks crawling all over the walls of the building. Okay, so your job now is just to replace the strong adjectives, as you can see in the sentence with the words very or even extremely with the adjectives. So we can say for each sentence, for example, for number 1, very or even extremely angry, and instead of say furious, and enormous, we can say very or even extremely big. And the third word, the very is the right option, and you can say also extremely silly. And the fourth sentence, very extremely important. Both are correct. And the last sentence, very as well as extremely small, will be a good replace for the adjective. So you can see the strong adjective and you can see the replacement with very or extremely in the red color. Now it's time for the past perfect. And before we go deep in the past perfect, we should know that there is 3 different tenses in English: past, present, and future. And in this slide, we are going to talk about past. So the past perfect expresses the idea that something occurred before another action in the past. It can also show that something happened before a specific time in the past. And we are going to see an example for this. An event happened or happened before another event. We can see someone broke into our house. We arrived home. We discovered that someone had broken into our house. So we can see 2 things, 2 actions happening before the last one. And you can see also in this scenario, we did not reach the now. We did not reach the present. We're still in this side. Okay? Here we use the past perfect to show that the first event finished before the second event even happened. All right? Now it's time for the example. You had studied English before you moved to New York. And had you studied English before you moved to New York? And you can see here simply that this is a question and this is information, or you can say affirmative. Because we can't see the question mark, and also we replace here the subject with the had. The third sentence or example, you had not studied English before you moved to New York. I had never seen such a beautiful beach before I went to Kauai, and I did not have any money because I had lost my wallet. Tony knew Istanbul so well because he had visited the city several times. In the past perfect progressive, there's a difference with past perfect symbol, and we use the past perfect progressive to show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past as well. So we can see this example. I had been waiting for hours. So this is the action of waiting when finally the bus arrived. So both are in the past, but there is something started in the past and continue for a time. Let's say 10, 15, half an hour in the past, and also another action happened in the same time in the past when finally the bus arrived. So we can use the past perfect progressive to show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past as well. And this is there are many examples of this tense. You had been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. Had you been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived? You had not been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. They had been taking for over an hour before Tony arrived, and she had been working at the company or at that company for 3 years when it went out for business. And the last sentence, how long had you been waiting to get on the bus? Now it's time for the assessment, and your job is just to complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs past perfect or past perfect progressive, right? So I'll read the sentence for you. Peter said was Sally's best friend. She, and the verb, know him all her life. The children were wet because they play football in the rain. We were very hungry because we not eat. Was delighted when I found my keys. I looked for them for hours. She was exhausted because she worked since 8 o'clock that morning, and everything was white because it snowed. So your job now, you can't see the red words between the brackets. Just write the sentence with the correct form of those verbs, whether in past perfect or even in past perfect progressive. And those are the right answers. Peter was Sally's best friend. She had known him for all her life. The children were wet because they had been playing football in the rain. We were very hungry because we hadn't eaten, and was delighted when I found my keys. I had been looking for them for hours. She was exhausted because she had been working since 8 o'clock that morning. Everything was white because it had been snowing. What we learned today. As you can see, we start with the verb take and how to use the verb take with some preposition like take down, take after, take up, take away. And those words, it has a different meaning if you just say it together like take in, take on. All right. And then we move to the past perfect. And what is the difference between past perfect and the past perfect progressive? We take also some examples for both two tenses, and those are the references or the resources of the lesson. And this slide means we have reached to the end of the slide. I'd like to thank you for your watching. Hope to see you next time. And don't forget that if for more information or even listen, visit our website or contact us via Twitter account. If you prefer to call, this is the right phone. Thank you again. I hope to see you next time. Until that, goodbye for now.